Hi everyone, this is Mr. Jarrett, and today I want to talk to you about 4 types of sentences. Now to begin, I have been told that while making these grammar videos, I tend to use my hands a lot. I'm very active when I speak. I like to use my hands to make a point. I'll do my best to try and control using my hands so that they're not too distracting in the video. It might be hard to control, but I will do my best. Starting now. Okay. We're going to talk about 4 types of sentences. I believe this is something that everyone watching the video already knows, but you've learned them in more simple terms. We're going to discuss these using bigger words, more complex terms, and these are the terms that end up coming up on tests that you have to differentiate. These 4 words to describe the 4 types of sentences are declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory. So let's begin with declarative. This is essentially the most simple type of sentence. The word declarative has another word inside of it that you should already know. There's a verb in there. Do you know what word is inside of declarative? It is declare. Now, what does it mean to declare something? So declare comes from a Latin word, and this means to explain. And you can also have a synonym of declare. It is state. So what kind of sentence is a declarative sentence? There's another term that you may have learned already. It's statement. You are stating something or declaring something. You are just giving information about something. For example, we can say, Mr. Jarrett teaches the class. This is a very basic sentence. Mr. Jarrett is the subject. What does he do? Teaches the class. That's just a fact. That's just information I am declaring or stating. That is a declarative sentence. And as you notice, a declarative sentence needs what type of punctuation at the end? It needs a period. So remember that when you're writing your sentences also. Now the next one is interrogative. This word also stems from a Latin word, interrogate. Interrogate is another word that we use. For example, if the police catch a thief suspect, they're going to ask him questions to try and find out if he did it, how he did it, why he did it. Usually we say the police interrogate the suspect. As I just said, they're going to ask questions. This means that they question the subject. So an interrogative sentence is what kind of sentence? It's a question. And of course, questions always end in what kind of punctuation? They end in a question mark. So for example, I might say, are you prepared for your upcoming grammar test? You can tell by the structure this is a question. It begins with the verb and then it has who I'm speaking to, are you, right? It has the general subject of the sentence. Are you prepared for the upcoming grammar test? And it ends in a question mark. Now the next one. Imperative. So this one here, this is, the word imperative can describe the sentence, right? It is an imperative sentence. Imperative is an adjective that means important. So if you believe that something is important to do, you can say it is imperative to do. In Latin, this also means it gives command to something. So what kind of sentence do you think an imperative sentence is? It is a command. I think you know this type of sentence already. So in a command, you are telling someone what to do. You're giving a command. So this is an imperative sentence. An easy way to remember this is, 1, something that is imperative is important because you're telling someone this is important to do. Both of them start with IMP. Another way to remember this is imperative has an M, command has 2 M's. Either way, there is the M sound. I'm telling you this because as you can see, 2 of our sentence types start with I. If you need to decide whether it's interrogative or imperative, interrogative is interrogate, you are questioning. Imperative is important, it is a command. Try to use those tips so that you can try and remember which one is which in case you get slipped up. Now let's look at an example of an imperative. Wash the dishes before they get dirty. Okay, first of all, we know this is an imperative because it's missing something. What is missing in this sentence? If it is an imperative, it does not typically have the subject, who needs to wash the dishes. What is the subject here? The subject is you. This sentence is saying you wash the dishes before they get too dirty, right? So we take that out and we just have wash the dishes. Notice that the subject is you. It's just that we can take that out because you know that I'm talking to you. Typically speaking, if you need to differentiate what type of sentence it is, if you notice that it starts with a verb, you notice that it is kind of telling someone what to do and it's missing the subject of you, then it is an imperative sentence. So try and keep that in mind. Now the last one, a little bit more easy, this is exclamatory. This is another one that comes from a Latin word, exclaim, which I believe everyone here should know already. Usually that means to cry out or to call out, which implies there is some sort of emotion to it. So if there is emotion in the sentence, you're putting an exclamation mark at the end. So we just talked about imperative. Imperative, usually when you're taking a test, imperative is going to have a period at the end. Sometimes imperative can also have an exclamation mark at the end. If you're taking a test, it will usually be pretty clear which one is which. I want to clear that up here. So an exclamatory, usually, again, if you're going to see on a test or some kind of activity, it's obvious what it is. So an example that I can make is, wow, what an amazing game. So that starts with wow or whoa or something like that. You would guess that this has a lot of emotion and excitement behind it. I'm calling out, this is an amazing game. And what am I going to put at the end? An exclamation mark. So you want to be careful because sometimes you will see examples that say, without the wow, what an amazing game. How smart you are. Truthfully, these are not always the most natural sentences. We don't always speak this way, but they are proper sentences. They do exist, and they are things that come up on activities or tests. So don't guess whether it's a question or an exclamatory only based on what the first word is. If it has what, how, something like that. Read the sentence and think about what the sentence is telling you. What an amazing game. That's not a question. It's not asking, what an amazing game? It's saying, this game is amazing. It is describing the game. Another example would be, what action-filled paintings they are. As you can tell, it's a little bit unnatural for me to say this, but it is a sentence. It is something you might see in books or old movies, for example. This starts with what, but it says they are. It doesn't say, are they? It says they are. I'm essentially declaring that they are action-filled paintings. So because I'm describing the paintings, saying they are action-filled, and I have some excitement here, this is exclamatory with an exclamation mark. Now, I know that might be a little bit confusing, but you're going to continue to see examples as you practice at home. So to review, we have 4 sentence types. We have statement. There's another word for statement. What is the word that we learned? It is declarative. You are declaring something. We then have question. Now, what is the new word we learned for question? If the police question a suspect, they interrogate the subject. This is interrogative. We then have a command. It is something important that someone needs to do. It is imperative. And we have exclamatory, some sort of excitement with something. Now, 2 of these end with a period. Which 2 end with periods? We have declarative and imperative. Both end in periods. Typically, again, an imperative, maybe you get the idea of your mom telling you something, but she's very emotional as she tells you that you need to do this. Wash the dishes right now. Sure, maybe that has an exclamation mark. But usually on tests, again, we're going to separate between the 2 and expect that it's a calm command. Wash the dishes, please. Like that. In a perfect world, it would be calm. Interrogative, that will end in a certain mark. It will end in a question mark. And then we have exclamatory, which will end in an exclamation mark. So keep practicing these 4 types of sentences. Focus not only on the terms, but also what the punctuation is and how to differentiate them, the little clues in the sentence that can tell you what type of sentence it is in case you run into something tricky. Keep practicing at home. I also want to mention not only grammar, please keep practicing your vocabulary as well as the stories that you're reading. Make sure you understand everything that we are teaching you here at Magnet, not just the videos of grammar that Mr. Jarret is making for you. So please keep studying. You'll do a wonderful job on your upcoming test, I'm sure, and try and remember all this information for the future as well. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.